I always thought marriage meant building a life together, sharing dreams, and carrying each other's burdens. But with Mark, my husband, I slowly learned it meant something else. To him, marriage was a business deal, and I was the silent partner, expected to give, sacrifice, and keep quiet. We'd been married for years, and I had convinced myself that this was what love looked like. His sharp tone, his dismissive looks, his constant reminders of how little I brought to the table were just part of marriage. I told myself to stay strong, to be patient, to believe that one day he would see my worth. But the truth was, he never did. Every time I saved a little money from the small jobs I picked up, I would secretly dream of building something for myself, something that could prove I was capable. Mark would laugh when he caught me scribbling down ideas in my notebook. "You, a businesswoman? Don't make me laugh. You can't even make a proper decision without me." His words cut deeper than I let him see. Then, one evening, I found myself standing outside a small, dusty building downtown. The For Rent sign hung crookedly in the window, and the place looked like it hadn't seen life in years. But I felt something stir inside me. I imagined shelves, light, laughter, something alive again. For the first time in years, I felt hope. I gathered my courage and told Mark about it. I expected him to dismiss me, maybe even laugh like always. But instead, his eyes lit up in a way I hadn't seen before. He leaned back, crossed his arms, and smirked. "That's actually not a bad idea. But don't fool yourself, you can't. Run a business, I'll take it on. You'll just help out." And just like that, the dream I had whispered to myself became his idea, his project, his vision. He pushed me aside and took over every detail. At first I tried to believe it didn't matter. Maybe this was still our chance, even if it wasn't my name on the papers. Maybe he would let me be part of it. But the reality was harsher. Mark strutted around, introducing himself as the proud new owner, shaking hands, making decisions, never once mentioning me. I was invisible again. But this time, something inside me refused to stay silent. I began keeping records of the money I contributed, the hours I spent fixing, painting, arranging, while he boasted to friends about his sacrifice and his investment. I smiled quietly, but my notebook grew thicker. Then came the day that changed everything. Mark invited friends, family, and even local officials to the grand opening. He stood on that little stage, chest puffed, thanking everyone but me. As they applauded, I stood in the corner, clutching my notebook. And when it was my turn, the microphone passed near me, I didn't hold back. I opened that notebook and read out loud every detail, the receipts, the plans, the designs he had mocked but stolen. I told them how the dream was mine, how I had built it piece by piece, while he belittled me. The room fell silent, the smiles faded, and for once, all eyes were on me. Mark's face turned pale, his smirk gone. He stammered, tried to laugh it off, but it was too late. Everyone knew the truth. From that day, the business was no longer ours. It was mine. The respect, the recognition, the freedom was mine. And as for Mark, he became the one in the corner, the one whispered about, the one left behind, because the woman he thought was silent had finally found her voice. And once spoken, it could never be silenced again.